Mojtaba may be giving Trump more bad news just as the ceasefire end draws closer, with fresh reporting suggesting Iran's leadership remains more intact than many in Washington had hoped. After unveiling major underground missile infrastructure, Iran appears to have dashed Trump's hopes that weeks of strikes had broken Tehran's strategic backbone. After weeks of claims that Mojtaba was badly injured, Trump may now be facing a major shock as Iranian and Western reporting increasingly point to only limited injuries. Just a minor injury is now the more prominent version of events, reinforcing the impression that Mojtaba is not out of action and could still be helping direct Iran's war posture. The US could also face fresh trouble after seizing the Iranian-flagged Tuskar during the ceasefire window, because Tehran has already framed the move as piracy and a blow to diplomacy. Iran's new Supreme Leader Mojtaba Khamenei reportedly suffered only a minor leg injury during the war, according to fresh reporting published on April 20th. A senior Iranian official said Mojtaba sustained that minor leg injury during the attack on the Supreme Leader's compound in Tehran. The report said Mojtaba was injured on February 28th, the same day US-Israeli strikes killed his father, Ali Khamenei. This latest revelation was attributed to a senior Iranian official and carried by Iran International in reporting highlighted on April 20th. Azim Ebrahimpour said, and I quote, "Mojtaba Khamenei was in the compound's grounds at the time of the attack and was lightly hurt by the blast wave from a missile. Reports of other injuries were false and speculation about his health was aimed at creating division." Unquote. There has been widespread speculation about Mojtaba's condition ever since the February 28th strikes. Mojtaba has not been clearly seen in public since being made Iran's new supreme leader, which has only deepened uncertainty over his health and movements. Statements attributed to Mojtaba have instead been released and read out by Iranian state media on his behalf. Some earlier reports had also claimed that Mojtaba fled Iran and was undergoing medical treatment in Russia, though those claims remained unverified and contested. However, Iranian ambassador to Russia Kazem Jalali publicly denied those reports, pushing back against speculation that Mojtaba had left the country for treatment. Iran released a video on April 19th showing underground missile and drone launchers, signaling that its strategic weapons infrastructure remains active despite weeks of war. The IRGC-linked video portrayed ongoing overhaul and reconstruction work on Iran's missile and drone stockpiles, suggesting Tehran is trying to showcase recovery and resilience during the ceasefire. IRGC Aerospace Force Commander Said Majid Mousavi said the replenishment of arms had been accelerated, according to reporting cited by Iranian outlets. Mousavi said the pace of replenishing weapons increased during the ceasefire period, indicating that Iran used the pause to restore parts of its arsenal. His remarks were reported by WANA and Press TV just ahead of the expected expiry of the ceasefire window. Said Majid Mousavi said, and I quote, "Iran's speed in updating and reloading missile and drone launchers have surpassed even its pre-war pace. We are aware that the enemy is incapable of creating such conditions for themselves during the ceasefire. Since the ceasefire began on April 11th, the United States has had to bring in ammunition from the other side of the world in a trickle. They have lost this phase of the war as well. They have lost the Strait, they have lost Lebanon, and they have lost the entire region." Unquote. Mousavi's claims came after US media reports argued that Iran still retained the ability to sustain its missile capability despite the conflict. The Wall Street Journal, citing US intelligence assessments, reported that Iran still has thousands of ballistic missiles in reserve. Those missiles could reportedly be pulled out of hiding or retrieved from underground sites, reinforcing concerns that Iran's strike capacity was not eliminated. Return to open conflict. Iran has accused the United States of violating the ceasefire after attacking its cargo vessel in the Gulf of Oman. On April 19th, US forces reportedly fired on the ship, disabling its engine before boarding and seizing it. President Donald Trump later confirmed the seizure, saying the vessel was under US sanctions. In response, Iranian media said drone attacks were launched targeting US warships operating nearby. Iranian officials described the strikes as direct retaliation for what they called a US act of aggression. Iran strongly condemned the incident and warned that further retaliation against the US would follow. Ibrahim Zulfiqari said, and I quote, "The aggressor United States violated the ceasefire and committed maritime piracy by firing at an Iranian merchant ship in the waters of the Sea of Oman and landing a number of its terrorist marines on the deck of the vessel, disabling its navigation system. We warn that the armed forces of the Islamic Republic of Iran will soon respond to this armed piracy and retaliation by the US Army," unquote. The operation comes at a time of fragile ceasefire and growing uncertainty over ongoing diplomatic efforts. The US action also came just 2 days before the 2-week ceasefire with Iran was due to end. Meanwhile, Iran says it has no plans yet to attend the next round of talks in Pakistan. As the ceasefire moves closer to expiry, the US has seized an Iranian cargo ship, adding fresh tension to an already volatile situation at sea. President Donald Trump announced that the US military carried out the seizure of the Iranian vessel on April 19. The US military also released footage showing Navy fire hitting the cargo ship while it was out at sea. According to reports, a US missile destroyer intercepted the ship as it allegedly attempted to head toward Iran. The Iran-flagged vessel was said to be traveling toward Bandar Abbas port when it was stopped, according to the US military. US officials say the ship ignored communications for more than 6 hours, which led forces to take action. The destroyer then reportedly ordered the crew to evacuate the engine room before opening fire to disable the vessel. Several shells from the warship's 5-inch Mk-45 gun struck the engine area, leaving the ship immobilized in the water. US troops later boarded the Iranian vessel and took control without meeting any further resistance. The ship is now in US custody following the operation, according to US Central Command. US officials say the vessel was taken into custody after it allegedly tried to break a US blockade on Iranian ports. Iran has strongly condemned the operation as armed piracy and theft, and has vowed retaliation over what it calls a violation of the truce. Donald Trump said, and I quote, "Today, an Iranian-flagged cargo ship named Tuska, nearly 900 feet long and weighing almost as much as an aircraft carrier, tried to get past our naval blockade, and it did not go well for them." The US Navy guided missile destroyer USS Spruance intercepted the Tuska in the Gulf of Oman, and gave it a fair warning to stop. The Iranian crew refused to listen, so our Navy ship stopped them right in their tracks by blowing a hole in the engineer room. Right now, US Marines have custody of the vessel. The Tuska is under US Treasury sanctions because of its prior history of illegal activity. We have full custody of the ship, and are seeing what's on board.